So we want to share how God has worked and moved behind the scenes to make buying this farm even possible. And so Kelsey's going to share how our story all started.
So I got my first 2 horses when I was 11, and I just always had horses, loved growing up with horses, knew I wanted to do something with horses in the future as a career. And so I've been giving riding lessons for the past 7-8 years. Started very small, and my business just kind of started growing over the past couple years. And so I kind of got to the point where either I needed to just kind of stay and keep what I was doing, but if I wanted to grow, I kind of had to change something. So whether that was decrease more hours at work, or ideally get our own place to give lessons. So that's kind of what we were looking for. I was giving lessons at my grandparents' farm. That's where I grew up, and that's where I kind of started building my business. I had arena, everything all set up there, and so I kind of wanted to stay and grow there. So I came to the conclusion where if I wanted to keep giving riding lessons, and I kind of wanted to build it up to full time, that I had to do it all year, and I would ideally like to have an indoor arena, so I don't have to cancel lessons because of rain, and snow, and wind, and all that stuff. So an indoor arena would be ideal. And at the same time, this time last year, God was really teaching me about surrender. Surrender was kind of like my key theme for last year, and just surrendering my dreams and surrendering my ideas of how things were supposed to go. So when I had this idea in my head that I wanted to have an indoor arena, I kind of started talking about it. We went to look at a couple different ones, and we kind of started throwing ideas out there, and came to be my grandpa told me that it'd probably just be cheaper and easier if I could buy my own horse farm rather than building an indoor arena, just because of all the permits and the time it would take to go through all of that stuff and all the legalistic stuff if it even work out. And so I look at him, I go, Grandpa, how it's going to be cheaper to buy my own horse farm than it is going to be to just build an indoor arena. Yeah. And he goes, you never know, just give your dreams to God and pray about it and let it go and see how he works. And I'm just like, I know that, Grandpa, but okay.
Yep.
So I kind of had to surrender my dream of being on the farm and staying where I was planted, and that was really hard at first, but God had to plan for all of it. So.
And when was that? When were you with Grandpa? When was that?
That was August, September last year, 2018.
Yep.
And so we kind of started looking at different horse farms, not really super seriously looking.
Right?
It was before that.
Okay.
Not seriously looking, but we were just kind of looking. And there was a farm in Greencastle that was for sale at the time. I went to look at it, and I really wanted to be there because I thought, it has an indoor arena. It's in Greencastle. It's a good location. It's what I wanted. But it's not what God wanted, because every single time we took one step forward with this farm, it seemed like we took 5 steps back. And I was just trying so hard to make it work because it was my dream. It was what I wanted. But God was just like, no, surrender your dreams to me. This is not the right time, not the right place. And I was like, but why, God? I even went through this time where I was like, God, if horses is not what you want me to do, just kill this dream, kill this desire in me. But I just kept feeling it stronger. So I kind of knew that was God, what he wanted me to do. But I just was confused why things weren't working out. And so
we kind of
went through a 2-month period trying to get that place worked out, and it just fell through. And so I had to surrender again and just be like, okay, God, here's my dream. Do what you want to do with it. And so I went back to Zillow, looking through Zillow, and I came across this farm. And first time we had passed over this, I just looked over it because it didn't have an indoor arena, and I was at the time dead set on having an indoor arena. And so I talked to our realtor. We came out to see it the Saturday after Thanksgiving, and it was like an ice storm, freezing rainstorm. We came out to see it, and the 2 things I had always wanted in a farm was a tree-lined driveway and a white fence. And once we pulled in the driveway and there was tree-lined driveway and the solid white fences, we were like, oh, this place is perfect. Yeah. And we loved it. We both fell in love with it. So that was the first step.
So from there, there was a list of a bunch of things that we've thought about over this, after the whole situation, right? Reflecting on the whole thing. There's a whole list of things that we saw, how we saw God move. And so the first thing was, well, and if any of one of these things fell through, this farm would not have been possible. So the first thing was with the farmer. And the local farmer doing the hay for us and being willing to do that. We don't have the equipment to do all the hay, and in Greencastle, Kelsey's grandpa and dad and I started to help with that. We did all the hay, but up here they're far away, so it wasn't going to be as convenient for them. Yeah, and so the local farmer said he would do the hay in exchange for so many bales, and also help with the manure and spreading that. So that was the first big thing.
So the second big thing that really worked out was we found out we had a mutual friend with the sellers, and so I was just kind of messaging this mutual friend one day, and she goes, "You talking about the farm over on Walker Road?" And I go, "Yeah." And she's like, "Okay," like that's it. And then like the next day she texted me. She's like, "Hey, I just had Bible study with the seller's wife." And I was like, "Oh, really?" And she's like, "Yeah." And her prayer request at the Bible study was that this farm would get sold. And so that was just really cool having that connection, because then our mutual friend had kind of talked to them, because one other thing we were worried about was getting boarders, because we have like 11 stalls here, and so we had extra space, and we wanted to have some extra boarders for extra income. And so our mutual friend was talking to the sellers one day, and the seller goes, "Hey, I have 2 horses I'd like to board there," which is another God thing, and kind of cool because his horses were already here before, and they'd be kind of coming home. So that was really cool. So another big part was financially, how are we going to be able to pay for this? So we worked with our people, our connections at Morristown Bank, and they really helped us like make this place possible. We went back and forth between residential and commercial, and like we were literally like back and forth between loans, and I don't know how, but they just all figured it out. So that was a huge blessing for us.
The commercial loan was, they converted the commercial loan to a residential loan. And so that was a big thing for us, because a commercial loan, it had to be 25-year loan, and the interest rates are higher. But then we got the residential loan. We got a few people that we knew that helped us out with that, and got the 30-year loan.
Well, we weren't technically commercial or residential either, because I was running a business on the farm, and the business part is commercial, but it was tricky because our house is on the property of
business, where the business is.
Yeah, so it was just really confusing, and our people at Morristown were awesome and just figured that all out for us. So.
Yeah.
So the farm was on the market for like 580 days. And
how many people? 30 people came? Or like
a lot of people came and looked through it.
Close to 30.
They actually had a contract on it like a year before that we even looked at it, and the contract fell through. And they had like a local winery or something want to come and look at it and use it as like an event venue. But when the sellers found out they wanted to tear down the horse barn, that they didn't sell it to them because they wanted the farm to go to someone that would use it for horses, which was pretty cool. So it was like God was like holding this place for us until we were ready till it was his time, till it was ready for us to buy it.
Yeah. And so I guess also with not having the indoor arena here, that allowed the price to be lower, but it was still a large sum of money,
Pretty high for 27-year-olds.
Yeah, pretty high for 27-year-olds. So all of these things, and then the sellers being willing to come down in price. So with having the connection, we think that was God working behind the scenes. And so part of that is the sellers, when we put the offer in, they told us this after the fact, but they told us that they were reading through the book of Luke in the Bible, Luke chapter 16, and when we put the offer in, it took them several days to get back to us, but they were really thinking about the offer, because it wasn't where they wanted, and we knew that humbly, and
we wrote a letter with our offer. We were like,
we wrote a letter.
We love your farm. We know this offer is not worthy of what it's worth, but this is what we have to offer, and we feel like this is where God wants us to be. So.
Yeah, and so them being, Christians like us, and wanting them to see their property handed down to somebody who wants to honor God as well. So we feel honored with that. But they were reading through Luke 16, and the story of it's a parable where Jesus was talking about a rich man who had a manager who a bunch of people came to the manager, and the manager asked, how much do you owe the master? And they owed, one guy owed 100, cans of or bushels of oil. And so the manager said, okay, just write 50. I'll let you have it for 50. And then another one comes and owes a certain amount, but each one came and he let them have it for a little less. And so they felt that this was God speaking to them, saying, we want to let you have it for less, and that these are the right people. So they told
so our realtor called us, and she's like, they're going to sell you the farm, but, and then we're just like, but what? And so we're waiting for her to talk, and she goes, but you have 5 days to put your house under contract, or else they're going to leave the farm on the market. So if they have another offer coming in, then they can kind of go with that offer. Because we had heard that they had plans of somebody coming in after Christmas. We put our offer in like 3 days after Christmas or something. Or they had people coming in from California in January, and I was like, well, if they're coming in from California, they're probably pretty serious about it.
Yeah.
And they had an offer in the week before Christmas.
With the 5 days or whatever it was, we had somebody that was willing to. We were talking to. We lived in a duplex, and the person beside us that owned that, we were talking to them over the summer, last summer. Well, not this past summer, but the summer before that. And they said that they wanted, well, if you ever sell your place, let us know. We're interested. And we didn't know when we were going to be looking to buy a farm, but that came up. We called them up randomly, and they came over, and they were all in with buying our place. So
they came over to look at
the day
before we put our offer in.
Yeah.
They came to look at it, and they gave us an offer. We put our offer in, and then 2 days later they accepted our offer. So we contacted them the next day, and they came on Sunday and signed the contract. So that was like 3 days. We had our house under contract, sold, done. Yep. So that was a huge blessing. God working, awesome.
So that's the whole. Those are all the different little pieces, and you can see that. And if one of those pieces falls through, the story doesn't really pan out the way it is.
So you're probably wondering how we came up with the name Rhythms of Grace Stables, and this was a very personal experience that God took me through. Like I said last year, He took me through this whole season of surrendering. I had to surrender my dreams of staying on my grandparents' farm. I had to surrender our dreams of that horse farm at Chambersburg, and I was just questioning why, and then God finally brought us to the right place. But even before that, I had gone through this tough time in life, and my mentor had shared a passage with me. It's Matthew 11, 28 through 30. And in the NIV version, it's the passage about my burdens are easy and my yoke is light. But in the Message version, which I don't normally read, but she shared it with me in this version. Are you weary, worn out, burned out in religion? Come rest with me and learn my unforced rhythms of grace. And I was just like, it's so good. My unforced rhythms of grace. So horses are just unforced for me. It's horsework it's work, but it doesn't feel like work for me. My grandpa always said, Kelsey, you having fun skipping the stalls? Or he was like, you working hard down here skipping the stalls? And I was like, no, Grandpa, this is fun. And so horses are always it's just fun for me. It's like the barn is like a peaceful place. It's rhythmic, and it's just not hard. It's my place of rest.
And horses.
And then horses, it also ties with horses because they're very rhythmic with their gaits, and so just kind of really fit together. And so way before even all this started, I was like, Rhythms of Grace, that would be a perfect farm name. So whenever we got the farm, we knew we had to call it Rhythms of Grace Stables. And so here it is.
And it kind of sums up our whole story is we've been blessed beyond measure by the grace that God has bestowed upon us. And so we want to use this farm for God's glory. And so we're blessed beyond measure with what He's done and how He's moved. And so that's kind of our story, right?
Yeah.
Okay.